Recently, I read the first reworked draft of a project I had almost let go of, and I felt it in my body, a lift in my chest, the same charge I felt years ago when the idea first arrived, back before any of the work had worn me down. The words on the screen were the story I had been carrying in my head the whole time, finally out where I could see it. Then it kept going. The blog post became a video. The video became shorts and reels. One idea moved across formats in a single afternoon, and every version still sounded like me. I sat with that feeling for a while because I had waited a long time to reach it. I have always loved telling stories, and I have always loved the idea of telling one story across many forms. A reader might meet an idea as an essay, then again as a 2-minute video, then as a single image that holds the heart of it. The same thread, offered in whatever form finds them. That is the work I have wanted to make for as long as I have been making anything. For years it sat behind a wall I kept hitting. I had 2 options, and both of them were capped. The first was to do all of it myself. I know how to do the manual work. I have edited the videos. I have written the books. I know exactly how many hours go into one polished piece, which is why I hold real respect for the people who love that craft and choose it on purpose. I love that for them. Doing every step myself meant my output stayed limited to my own time and my own energy, and there is only so much of each. Whatever I made in a given week came straight out of the same finite supply. So the ceiling was never a question of skill. It was hours, and my vision runs further than the hours one lifetime holds. The other option was to hire people. When my blog was earning well, I had a little extra income, so I brought on freelancers to help. That path has its own ceiling, and it took me a while to see it clearly. Employees and contractors cost money you have to earn back. Every hire has to be justified by a return, which means the income starts leading and the vision starts following along behind it. I caught myself asking whether an idea would pay for itself before I let myself make it. That question sounds responsible. In practice, it talked me out of doing things. The ideas that survived it were the ones that could point at a revenue line, and some of the ideas I cared about most had no such line to point at. So there were the 2 roads. Grind out every piece alone until you burn out, or raise enough money to pay a team and then spend your days making sure the work earns its keep. Both of them ask you to shrink the vision down to what you can personally execute or personally fund. Here is what shifted for me. I get to live in the vision now. I direct the execution instead of carrying every step of it myself or buying it from a team my resources have kept out of reach. I decide what the story is, how it moves, and what it should feel like. Then I guide the tools through the parts I would rather hand off. In practice, that means I spend my days on the work that gives me energy, the shaping, the choosing, deciding that this idea belongs as an essay and that one belongs as a 2-minute video, and knowing why. The piece that lights me up is the piece I get to keep for myself. And the piece that used to drain me has stopped being the price of admission. Let me be specific about what directing involves, because it sounds passive from the outside and it is the opposite. I am the one who knows what this idea is for. I am the one who can tell when a version of it has drifted off the thread. Somebody has to hold the whole shape in their head and keep measuring the parts against it, and that somebody has to be the person the idea belongs to. The difference between now and the years I spend hitting that wall is where my hours go. They used to go into execution, and the vision got whatever was left over at the end of the day, which some days was nothing. Now the vision gets the hours and the execution gets guided. Same person, same day. The output changed because the hours went somewhere else. The nudge that opened this up was small. I watched a creator offering to teach her system for automating an entire content pipeline, and instead of signing up, my first thought was that I could probably build my own. So I did. That is a story for another day. For a while, I asked myself whether the result was really mine. I went through the whole shame process that so many of us are moving through right now. How much of this is me? Am I allowed to call it my work? I landed on yes, and the reason is simple. So much of me goes into directing it and correcting it. I set the vision, I catch what misses, I send it back until it says what I mean, and I keep sending it back until it does. The directing is the creative act. The taste is mine, the judgment is mine, the thread that ties it all together is mine. Take me out of it, and the whole thing loses the only thing that made it worth making. I say that plainly because I remember how long I sat with the question, and because I suspect some of you are sitting with it right now. The money question changed shape for me too, and this one surprised me. Directing the work myself means I carry no payroll. The work gets to begin the moment the idea does. I choose to be the creative director. I am an empowered creator, so that is what I build from. If income comes, wonderful. It arrives as a result of the work, and this runs much wider than me. If you have ever had more vision than time, you know this bind. You were handed the same two options I was, and you probably picked one of them and made peace with what it cost you. That wall is coming down for anyone willing to walk up to it. Here is the part that still catches me off guard. There are more ideas in me than I once believed I could bring to life in a lifetime. For most of my life, that thought sat heavy, a list longer than one lifetime could ever hold. It used to press down on me and block my creativity. I would look at everything I wanted to make and feel the weight of the ones I would have to let go of. Now it feels like aliveness. The same list, the feeling has turned over. I get to bring forth what I choose to bring forth, with the resources already in my hands, starting from where I am, rather than from some future version of myself with a bigger budget. The ideas have become an invitation. What a wild time to be alive. There's more of this thinking on the blog. You'll find the link in the description.